So now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce today's first speaker, Jeremy Servants, VP of Innovation. Jeremy, you have the floor.
Thanks, Ellen. Hello, everyone. And thanks for joining us today as we talk about InnoTest, the newest addition to Ipsos' digital platform in our innovation testing suite. We're excited to talk to you today about firsthand how the InnoTest solution has come to be, talk about what it is, and cover off on some success stories related to how manufacturers have revolutionized their innovation testing process with the power of InnoTest. When combined with the digital platform, Jongming Mu would take you through more of how to execute a study and also talk about the spectrum of innovation solutions and how InnoTest fits into that. But before we begin, I want to talk a little bit about Ipsos' innovation philosophy, how InnoTest came to be. So in short, what we believe is that when we start with real people, the people that are most interested in your innovation, we put them in a real life context and ask them questions about your innovation in a way that most closely mimics the decisions that they make in real life, we're able to get better insights about the way consumers make decisions and ultimately what's going to be successful in market. But too often, our tools don't reflect the reality for both us as researchers and consumers. As researchers, we're all too familiar with the long timelines associated with incorporating rigorous consumer testing. And by opting for speed, we often have to forego rigor to be able to fit within the ever-shrinking timelines of innovation today. For consumers, we know that most decisions that are made in stores are often done within several seconds. They're on autopilot, and the habits that drive those decisions are very strong. Thus, we should really be looking at innovation from a top-of-mind impression perspective, as opposed to more cerebral, involved thinking. Basically, the idea of fast versus slow thinking that Daniel Kahneman popularized. And finally, we know that consumers are risk averse when they're not familiar with the choices in front of them and are often going to defer to what they know best, which is what they do today. With this in mind, Ipsos has fundamentally tackled innovation testing with all of these principles. The two lenses that we use to evaluate how consumers view your innovation is through a consumer lens and a competitive lens. The consumer lens is what we call our red measures, relevance, expensiveness, and differentiation. And these are the things that we know are not only most predictive of in-market success, but they're also diagnostic about your innovation as well. The second lens that we view innovation through is the competitive lens. So to be able to change behavior, we need to understand what consumers are using today and how your innovation stacks up against that. To go into more detail about our consumer lens, again, our metrics that we use are also predictive and diagnostic of in-market success. Relevance, expensiveness, and differentiation, when looked at through our proprietary lens, has been proven to be more predictive of projective techniques such as PI. And it's also better at being able to predict what are the shortcomings of any innovation you have to be able to better improve your odds of success. Our solutions also still leverage the idea that our performance for our innovation should be rooted in the idea of what consumers are using today to determine their true willingness to change. Take, for instance, a new innovative meal kit, potentially offering more convenience or more quality that's currently available. Instead of comparing to a small base size of other particular meal kits that have been tested, we actually look at it through the consumer lens of what they're currently using today. For instance, one consumer might be using a meal kit delivery service, such as HelloFresh. Another consumer might be using a delivery app, such as Postmates. And finally, another consumer might be looking at solutions that are already available in store, but potentially already ready to eat, such as a rotisserie chicken or a hot bar. So by looking through this lens, we can better understand how likely your innovation is to change consumers' behavior and ultimately have in-market success. And so while these principles and approaches aren't necessarily new, enhancements in technology, specifically what questions we ask consumers in surveys, how we execute those surveys, and the metrics that we can glean from their responses have been able to produce a whole new opportunity for us as researchers to be able to better understand consumers' true insight around your innovation. It's this marriage that has created a number of different solutions in the product portfolio that Zhongming will cover later today. To find out more about these metrics, please feel free to download the white paper in this WebEx as well. Now, InnoTest. The InnoTest solution captures innovation adoption behavior by forcing consumers to actually make intuitive choices between your innovation and what they use today. 3 key metrics make up what is the core of how we assess your innovation. The first thing we do is we ask consumers to simply tell us about their innovation. This open-ended text is then processed by AI-powered sentiment coding to determine how positive, neutral, or negative consumers' perception of your innovation is. Next, we take consumers through a battery of choices related to how your innovation stacks up against the competition that they've defined for us. We understand not only on the metrics that we know are correlated to in-market success, again, those red measures, what they choose, but we're also understanding how quickly they choose it and the passion behind those choices. When these measures come together, they provide us with a trial index, which provides a predictive number that we can then base our decisions about the strength of your innovation off of. So while we all agree that behavioral science is great and provides us with a new lens, in our development of InnoTest, we've actually proven that closer replication of real-life consumer choices generates better results. First off, when we give consumers more realistic tasks, again, those choice exercises, what we found is that the results are more predictive of in-market trial. Furthermore, when we actually track how passionate consumers are about those choices, we are better able to understand how likely trial potential is for that innovation. And finally, the more likely a consumer is to provide positive sentiment in that open-ended response about your innovation, we've also seen a correlation to higher trial. One last benefit of the InnoTest solution is that it eliminates the inefficiencies involved with creating stimuli and stimuli variances. So in our R&D, we looked at a number of different stimuli, and what we found is that as long as the core proposition of the stimuli remains consistent, so does the appeal to consumers. So what this means is not only can marketers now spend more time focusing on the things that really matter as opposed to formatting or templates, but now they can actually not have to worry about whether a particular stimuli is an idea, a concept, or something in between. The consistency of the method and the metrics that make up InnoTest is applicable across any stimuli, whether it be idea, concept, or something in between. And while Zhongming will take you through the details of the delivery of InnoTest in more detail during the demonstration, InnoTest is available on both the digital platform, providing robust, rigorous results in a matter of hours, or greater customization that allows you to dig deeper into atypical business questions for a customized delivery. Finally, in the 9 months since InnoTest launch, popularity has exploded. We've tested over 3,000 innovations across more than 20 global manufacturers and 19 different countries. These manufacturers have been greatly impressed by the ability to combine both the speed and rigor associated with InnoTest and have changed their processes accordingly. We'll share with you 3 different case studies that highlight this. First off, the first case study features a situation in which a food manufacturer who typically avoids consumer testing because of the long timelines was in this situation forced to actually do it. they had a highly confidential initiative that they were concerned that its competitors would be able to basically be able to mimic and beat them with scale. So in this case, the manufacturer determined that they had to do in-market testing, but didn't want to wait a long time for the results to come back because that would slow down the process. They needed to answer several key questions, specifically whether this item could actually succeed in market and how to develop it, because further stages of development were really contingent on this initial read. So after introducing the client to the Ipsos.Digital platform and how to launch an Inno Test in a matter of an hour, the Insights Manager was able to log on, input their stimuli into the platform, set their study specifications, and launch their study and get validated key metrics and diagnostics back within less than 4 hours. So with now the confidence to proceed, the team was able to begin prototype production more than a month sooner than other possible testing methodologies they were considering. This amount of time actually allowed them to do another test that they typically eschew, which is in-home use testing, to be able to actually optimize the product and its ability to fit with the expectations that were set without having to add additional time to their process. The second success story we have is actually coming in the beginning of the pandemic we're currently in. While obviously the pandemic has disrupted a number of different things and created a lot of chaos, this manufacturer of a cold and flu brand was looking at it as an opportunity. And the team determined that there are a number of different potential opportunities that they could exploit ahead of the upcoming cold and flu season. With little time to be able to really explore all of these, the team decided that an innovation sprint led by Ipsos would be the best way to get the most launch-ready propositions in front of the teams to be able to then develop prototypes and launch ahead of cold season. However, with five to six different spaces to explore, this required a lot of screening. For example, things like claims, pack designs, and names. And the team still needed confidence at the end of the day that these things were actually worth developing, all within a week's time. So as a part of the sprint, we baked in the digital platform to do overnight validation of outputs at each stage of the workshop. In the beginning stages, Dual was used to screen different claims and names overnight and is also available on the digital platform. InnoTest was also used to screen ideas and concepts, and were able at the end of the week to validate 5 different propositions. With InnoTest, they were able to actually see how the different constraints that they placed on the ideas either helped or hindered their in-market potential. The whole innovation sprint ended within a week on time, and they had 3 launch-ready concept propositions that were ready for development for this upcoming flu season. Finally, our last success story comes from an oral care brand that progressed 2 strategic concept propositions for launch in 2021 after a full-service Inno Test was conducted. When the results were being presented to the CMO, a new hypothesis emerged, whether the combination of core assets from those 2 propositions could be combined into a new proposition and thus provide more in-market potential than the 2 individually. However, the team needed to align quickly and ultimately wanted to have a decision made by their next meeting 2 days later, leaving little time to test this hypothesis with the full-service InnoTest design. Luckily, on the platform, a DIY solution was ready for this Insights Manager, who was able to, after the meeting, redevelop the concept for the hybrid approach, upload to the platform, and execute their study by the end of the day. By the next morning, the results were ready. In fact, the hybrid concept was far from ideal, along with the guidance that was from the previous stage, and convinced the team that the iteration was not worth pursuing further. In the subsequent meeting, the consistent results from both the full service and digitally based InnoTest were easily combined to be able to tell a cohesive story, providing compelling evidence for the team's recommendation on how to proceed. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Zhongming to tell you more about how InnoTest works and demonstrate its use on the platform.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. So thanks for introducing InnoTest. It's our most robust and behavioral solution to screen and validate your idea and concepts. I would like to talk a little bit about how you can access this service. Now, obviously, this offer can be accessed by reaching out to one of our staff members, and they will be very happy to provide full service support to you. However, as Jeremy has alluded to, this offer is now available through the Ipsos.Digital platform as a do-it-yourself service. The Ipsos.Digital platform hosts many of Ipsos's validated and future-ready offers, including InnoTest. It's currently available in US, UK, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and Brazil. And very quickly, we will be expanding to 16 markets just in a few months by the end of the year. You can access the platform to launch your InnoTest study at your own convenience, at your own time, with a result ready in as short as 16 hours. Now, we say it's 16 hours because sometimes people launch their study in the middle of the night, and the respondents are mostly sleeping at the time, so the survey would only kick in the next morning. But if you launch the study in the day, chances are you're going to get your results way shorter than the 16-hour promised time. Most of the studies are done 4 or 5 hours later. And the cost is also very economical. It starts with $3,500 per test. One thing that makes this operational method, Ipsos.Digital platform, truly unique is that it is backed up by the strong research team in Ipsos who knows about innovation research, right? This is all they do. At any point of the DIY journey, you can access live support or request more services such as setup, customized deliverables, etc. Now, we recognize that there is a lot of DIY platforms out there, so I'd like to say a few things about how our platform is a little bit different. We say that the Ipsos.Digital platform is built upon 4 principles, we call it the 4S, to ensure that our clients are getting consistent product offers, whether they are using the DIY solution or acquire full service from Ipsos staff. So security, the same rigor on sample quality, confidentiality, model robustness applied on a platform versus off of the platform. Simplicity. The user experience are very streamlined, that users can confidently operate the product offers in DIY mode, but when assistance are needed, the Ipsos staff are right there beside them in the platform for you to reach instantly. Speed. The setup process is designed to ensure that it doesn't take more than a few minutes to create and launch your project. And the entire fielding, modeling, and reporting process are automated, so you get your results in less than 16 hours, in many cases, 3, 4, 5 hours. And lastly, substance. As I was trying to say, at the end of the day, we want to offer you the robustness and the confidence that you have come to rely on for Ipsos for so many years through this new technology. After all, we are a bunch of passionate researchers and not a software company. I just want to hone in just a little bit on the first principle about security, as sample quality control is really one of the very common problems users experience with the various DIY platforms that's out there. Now, at Ipsos, we understand clearly that the robustness of the offer starts from sample quality. This is what we stand for. What sets us apart from our platform is that we apply the same rigor on the platform as we do in any of other full service solutions. On the platform, we validate respondents to make sure they are who they say they are via a host of different advanced technology. We ensure that they are not professional survey hunters by applying very strict panel usage and duplication control to make sure that the opinions we get from our respondents are fresh and valid. We also ensure that each respondent is truly unique individuals in our panel through technology such as digital fingerprinting. This makes sure that we do not have any duplicates. And lastly, panelists are monitored on their level of engagements on panel overall and on individual studies to ensure that they are providing quality data all the time. So now we come to the exciting part. I'm going to show you a demo on how an actual InnoTest project happens on the digital platform. You will see from the demo that it's really as easy as 1, 2, 3. The 3 steps to set up a study is, first, you provide specifications to your study overall, such as which country you're in, how many innovations you have. And second step, you upload your innovation stimuli. You upload your stimuli based on these the format that you have. Third step, you confirm the billing address, the payments, the price, you confirm, and the product will go into field. It's as simple as that. A few hours later, you're going to get an email notifying you that the result is ready, and you will be invited back into the platform to look at the results in the dashboard. So today, I'm going to show you an actual study that happened in the digital platform by a boutique chocolate brand called Chocolab, who are evaluating the potential of 3 novelty innovations they're planning to add to their lineup. All 3 are line extension, novelty type of chocolate concepts. So I'm going to switch screen to actually bring you to the Ipsos.Digital platform. As you log into the Ipsos.Digital platform, this is the address, by the way, Ipsos.Digital. The first screen you will see is a list of offers that we have in the digital platform, which is ever expanding. So as Jeremy has mentioned too, InnoTest is where we use to screen ideas and concepts and validate them. We also have Duo, which is Jeremy alluded to as our offer to behaviorally screening very short marketing propositions such as claim, varieties, name, and visual testing. We also have copy testing tool called Creative Spark and build your own survey called Fast Facts. Just wanted to take the opportunity to also show you how InnoTest is connected to the rest of the portfolio. So, Ipsos hosts a various innovation screening and testing solutions. As mentioned, InnoTest is used for idea and concept screening, but you have shorter marketing stimulus before, and before you even develop any ideas. For example, names, imagery, product attributes, things like that, claims, things like that. There is this Duo methodology that is also available DIY on a digital platform. Duo uses gamified behavioral tests to quickly screen, these short marketing stimuli very quickly for you. Also, results available in just a matter of hours. Now, as you progress along your innovation journey towards the later stage, you would like to understand how your innovation actually perform in a competitive environment. So InnoTest can be extended into a virtual shopping environment called SimStore. SimStore is this highly realistic shopping environment, whether it's in e-commerce shopping or physical shopping, where you can actually see what are the behaviors people do in the shopping environment with these innovations. All these offers, Duo, InnoTest, SimStore, InnoTest, applies the same behavioral approaches and use behavioral KPIs such as response time, consumer choices, and sentiments for prediction. Now, if I take a big step back, these offers, we mentioned InnoTest and Duo. These offers are connected with our 4 end-to-end innovation suite of offers. Duo InnoTest are part of what we call innovation screening pillar of services, which is here. But before that, we offer advisory services. And after that, we offer product evaluation, pack evaluation across CPG and non-CPG offers. And it's very important to mention that all of these offers are connected with our validated forecasting model. So at any point of this innovation journey, we can provide forecasting services for you to basically give you actionable insights quantified by revenue numbers. All of these offers are quote unquote forecastable. So to take a quick summary, we offer you the agility to your innovation research through the platform in a few ways. So our offer are completely integrated from early stage screening to late stage validation, as I've shown you the portfolio. The Ipsos.Digital platform provides access to these robust offers at your fingertips. We will continue to expand and improve the offers on the digital platform to build it into a one-stop shop for any of your innovation needs. We ensure that any of the offers we put on the digital platform will offer the same robustness as their counterparts off of the platform with the service options. And we ensure that at any point of your agile research journey, your Ipsos staff will always stand beside you to provide research expertise and tech support. Last but not least, we are a bunch of researchers passionate with what we do. So we're very proud that the 40 years of innovation testing experience can now be accessed through a modern technology. We want to offer you the validated metrics and decision-making insights as always, but now with more agility than ever. With that, I complete the presentation today and would love to see if there is any questions that you might have. So we're starting to get some questions, guys. Feel free to post your question into the question box. Jeremy and I will be very happy to answer them. So the first question I got is about whether it's possible, like if the question is, if I ran out of time doing these studies myself in a DIY mode, can I ask an Ipsos staff to help me finish the project or just hand over the projects to an Ipsos person? Like I mentioned earlier, the digital platform helps you to do DIY as much as possible. But at any point of the the setup phase, you can get help from Ipsos researcher. You can even hand the entire study to an Ipsos researcher to set up, and they will basically upload a study, upload the stimuli on your behalf. And the same thing is after a few hours, when the study is done, you're going to get the email, and you can log back onto the dashboard to look at your results. So you have the DIY option, but you also have a semi-serviced option. It's quite flexible in that sense. So the second question I get is, for countries that do not yet have DIY versions available, how does this work? So, I mean, again, we already have it in 7 markets. We're expanding to 16 markets in just a few months' time. But in the interim, if you have this offer, like I mentioned earlier, it's offered globally, and today it's already done in more than 30 countries. We have the digital platform version of it, and we have the serviced version of it. The offer is completely parallel, consistent. So like say if you want to do a study in Cambodia, let's say, the methodology is the same. It's just that it's not going to happen in a digital platform. It will be happening in the serviced mode. So so if you have a large battery of studies with some countries that are on a digital platform, some studies that are not on a digital platform, we can execute them all in one go. Just that the studies that are DIY will be delivered a little bit earlier. That's the only thing. So there is a question from Joanne on how do I think about trial index versus opportunity scores? Are they comparable? And if not, how are they different? So yeah, so Joanne, clearly you have a lot of knowledge about the Ipsos testing approaches. Opportunity score and trial index, I would say, is really siblings coming from the same family. They are all of them are driven by red measures as KPIs behind them. But I would say that the opportunity score is a slightly simplified version of trial index. Trial index is a little bit more robust. So with now, in the old days, we had to deliver a slightly simpler version of the trial index. We call it the opportunity score. But with the advance of technology, we'll basically be able to do the most advanced and robust model with the digital platform automatically. So everything is trial index now, but in terms of comparability, they are highly comparable. They're almost completely correlated. It's just that the opportunity scores model is a little bit simpler than the trial index one, if that makes sense. So guys, feel free to post any question. I mean, I don't see another one here, but Jeremy and I are happy to answer any of your questions through emails. But let's we still have a little bit of time. So guys, if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask.
Well, I don't see any more questions coming through right at this moment. So I really want to take this opportunity to thank Zhongming and Jeremy for today's excellent presentation and demo. And of course, thank you everyone for joining us today. We will be sending an email with a direct link to today's recording before the end of tomorrow. And of course, do check out the handouts for more about the innovation case studies we shared today. That now concludes today's webinar. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.